2017 or thereabout, we decided on, collecting poems along the theme that speaks to the issue of Almajiri. And we invited submissions from people. And luckily, we had more than enough submission. And for financial reasons, we couldn't get the work done until just this year. And I'm glad that the work is finally out. And we decided to have this, pre-launch chat for us to discuss for the people who have contributed something and others who have not contributed, who want to join and, have a share in the experience of the launching of this book. So you are all welcome. I appreciate, I've seen the large number of people who have turned up from all over the world. So thank everybody. Thanks to everybody for showing up.
You're welcome. That's not your introductory note yet. It's just your introduction. When it's time, I'm still going to ask you to introduce the anthology as a whole.
Yes.
Looking at my screen, Lydia, could you introduce yourself? I'm just going according to how it's showing on my screen. Lydia, please could you unmute yourself?
Unmute yourself.
Because I'm clicking to ask you to unmute.
All right, sir. I'm not done.
Great. So please introduce yourself.
I'm Akweya from your state.
Okay, and you have a poem in the collection, right?
Yes, sir. Treasures from the Savannah.
Okay, you're most welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
sir. Hopefully we'll be having a reading from you, I guess.
I can't say now.
Okay, maybe you read for us the work when it's time. Aisha Umar. Hello, Aisha. Okay, if we can't hear from Aisha, Dr. Kabura Zakama.
Thank you, Diego. My name is Kabura Zakama.
Hello.
Hello, Diego. Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Like Diego said, my name is Kabura Zakama. I am now believing that I'm a poet. I used to doubt myself, but now I can introduce myself as a poet. and I'm also a development worker, but I think poetry is a calling while my job is a vocation. Like Diego, I don't have any piece in this collection because I missed it. Because I have some poems on Almajiri, but I missed the call. And I'm very happy to listen to some of the points in this one. Thank you.
Yeah, most welcome. Thank you very much. And I'd like to also tell us that one of the persons that was very instrumental to this collection, Dr. YZ Yao, the country director, executive director of CITAD, Center for Information Technology and Development, just joined us. Hello, YZ. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Diego. How are you?
I'm fine. You're fine. And thank you for making this collection come to life.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So we're taking introductions. I don't know if you want to say a few words about yourself first.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I said you have introduced me already, so there's nothing to add.
Yes. Your interface with poetry is always one thing that I want people to know about, because I think you are just an information and communication technology person.
Well, I just love poetry. I like to see people reading poetry. And I like listening to poetry.
I'm sure we're going to have a lot of that this evening.
Great.
Okay. Okay, since we don't have a long time going. Is there anybody that hasn't introduced themselves and want to just take a few seconds to do so? So we don't spend time and then later we start struggling for time.
Hi.
Yes, Hajara.
Yes, my name is Hajara Mohammed. I am a PhD student of Kaduna State University, studying English literature.
Okay, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
By the way, Hajara is doing a research on the representations of begging in literatures from northern Nigeria. Yeah, so
interesting.
started me when she saw the poster.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a good one. It's a good one.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Any other person before we move straight into the program?
Okay.
Rodiga.
Yeah, that's my professor from.
Yes.
He
So
said
his mic is.
Yes. Is there a way you can do it from your side?
No, it's no.
Okay.
My mic is not working. So it most likely it's from his own device.
Okay, let me chat with him.
Okay. Someone else that hasn't been introduced that wants to do so. Okay, Aisha. Oh. Okay, I didn't really get that, but I guess we will have to proceed straight into the program. You're most welcome. I'd like to welcome everyone to this pre-launch reading of the songs of the Almajiri. Quickly, I would like to call on the one of the editors, Dr. Saka Aliyu. It's a collection that is edited by Saka Aliyu and IB Garba, Ismail Bala Garba. And the two of them are one of the most interesting literary activists up north. They have been promoting literature from different ends. They are authors in themselves. Ismail Garba's collection of poetry, Line of Sight, has been receiving rave reviews and attention. And then I recall Saka's book, Altine, and then a number of works he has done. So I'd like to call on Saka straight away to let us into the idea behind the anthology. I mean, we all see the situation of the Almajiri across northern Nigeria, but nothing really has been done in terms of a whole collection on it. So why did he think, Saka, why did you think that an anthology of this nature was necessary?
Yeah, thank you very much, Diego. The story is almost 2 decades or perhaps more than 2 decades ago. You know, in 2002, 2003, I was lucky to get a grant to do an advocacy in Sokoto, in the city of Sokoto, you know, promoting welfare and better conditions for these young Almajiri students who are out primarily to learn the Quran. But unfortunately, because of our history, our social, cultural and political situation in the country, they are known more for begging rather than for the primary aim for which they've left their home. There are so many issues to the problems of Almajiri. So I went into that project. Actually, what I did was I wrote a short novella in which I tried to imagine that what if I am a friend to an Almajiri, what will I do to help him out of that situation. So when I finished writing the novel, I was looking for sponsors to publish it. And luckily, there was a grant from Ibadan from an organization called PATH, Program in Health. I've forgotten the full meaning of the PATH now. It's been long. It's more than 17 years now.
Is it Partnership for Transforming Health Systems or something?
No, that's not the one. It's program in Africa on PATH. Program, I've forgotten.
Okay.
Don't go on. So the long short of it is that I was lucky I got the grant. My intention was to publish a book that would reflect the life and sufferings of these children as a way of an advocacy. That was my primary aim. I wanted them to publish out, just like we have done with this anthology. But when I got to the place of the interview, I found that I was challenged to do more than that. That why these children cannot read my book, so what am I going to do for them? So I ended up developing a program in which include feeding, clothing, the study materials, as well as advocacy on radios and television, and also organize a workshop. So the book itself happened to be ended up being the last part of the project. And when I finished the project and I tried to summarize my feelings in a poem, and that was my only poem, the only poem you find in this anthology. So I wrote a poem to capture the whole experience of a year, the 1 year that I spent in Sokoto Metropolis advocating for better conditions for Almajiris. And that was it. So I think about 15 years after, in 2016, there was this NGO in Kano, Kwandala Foundation, who are also into helping the less privileged. They wanted to mark their 10th year anniversary, and they asked for poems that has humanitarian touch. And then I submitted my poem, and luckily enough for me, my poem won the first prize. I was in a conference in the United States when Ismail Bala called me that, well, your poem have just won this Kwandala Foundation poetry contest, and I was surprised and I was glad and happy that yes, my poem of after 15 years, it got some recognition, and then I think 2 years later also, as anybody eventually when people get to read the anthology, they will find this in the introduction. I was in the staff room, the academic staff, in my university, and my colleague, who also has an entry in this collection, Murtala, he whispered to me that, I saw your poem on Almajiri. I said, really? Yes. And he said, oh, I have a poem too like that. I said, really? Okay, that's good. I was surprised because I have known him. I don't even know he was really a poet then. But what struck a chord in me is this, that I have a poem on Almajiri. And here is my friend who has a poem on Almajiri because he's concerned about their conditions. But I don't know that he is concerned. He doesn't know, like myself, that we're concerned. So we are two disparate individuals who have the same feelings. But because we don't know, we cannot pool our resources together and say, oh, let's do something. So I try to imagine. That's why I said this anthology is actually a parable of what is possible if the society wants to resolve this problem. It is me, you, and everybody coming in, chipping little here and there. So that's why I said, okay, I'm going to call for an anthology. Let people submit poems talking to this issue. And in no time, people submitted their works. In fact, when the book finally came out this year, many people like you just said, were asking me, oh, when was the call? I should be in this collection. A lot of people were saying that, oh, had even they had seen this, they will have joined and be part of it. So that shows the importance of this problem. And important for me is that when I won that prize, I also noticed that the first runner-up and the second runner-up in that competition also wrote their poems on this same issue. So the first three winners were concerned about this issue because the organizer says they want poems that speaks to humanitarian issues in northern Nigeria. And of course, at the time I wrote the poem and when I was doing that project, unlike now, I always believe that Almajiri is the single most important problem facing northern Nigeria. That was my belief. Of course, we have more existential problem now. This issue of banditry, kidnapping is much more serious because Almajiris are not as dangerous as people assume they are. At least they were not killing people. They were not kidnapping anybody. They were only going about begging for food so that they can go back to their school and learn. They were just they were just irritants to our our urban feeling, our urban psyche. We people in the urban center feel, oh, these people are nuisance. Why will you be going about begging? You know, we don't want to see them. That is really the concern of the urban public. Other than that, Almajiri and their system, they are not really a problem. But you see right now, we have more existential problem, threats to human life and property. And Almajiri too, the last news, one of the last news I heard about from this back, the Niger said that Almajiris themselves were kidnapped.
Wow.
So for me, the problem is a very big problem for me because it touches all facets of life. These children, they want to learn. And like one of my professors said way back in 2003, he said, the state's education system has little room for them because if all Almajiris were to decide today that, okay, we're coming back into the formal school system, the school system will collapse because they don't even have the space or the facilities to handle them. So there are alternative routes for people to get education. The main problem is these children are responsible for their education, which is not their responsibility, but that of their parents and the society. So basically, this anthology is also another way to draw attention to the problem that these children are facing. A lot of people keep saying, oh, we've heard so much about Almajiri, we want action. But I tell you that talking about the problem is also one of the ways, to get attention for the problem. I always argue to myself that how does God answer people's prayer? Because they keep knocking on God's door. Oh, God, I want this. God, I want that. So when you speak long enough, maybe God will answer your prayer. So the same thing, a human problem. If you draw attention of the people or the government to an issue long enough, and the government will say, okay, what's this thing? Let's do something. So talking is also part of finding solutions to the problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Talking is also part of finding solution. I like that because really that's one of the things that creates awareness. And when people get to become more aware of a problem, they say, okay, let's stop talking, let's start acting. I would like to, before we take poetry, I don't know if Anawaisi Yao would want to just tell us also why CITAD got involved and what a goodwill message from CITAD as an organization. Anawaisi.
Yes, Diego. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear from here.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. You have
great. Okay. Let me first start by congratulating Ismail and Saka on the effort they have put into getting this book out. I think that CITAD is more or less an advocacy organization. We are concerned about issues in the society. And we know that the advocacy is just a communicative action. You need to communicate to people so that they understand and they come to reason along the same line that you are trying to persuade them into. And so in that context, we are ever looking for more effective ways in which our messages would get across to our target audience. The Almajiri problem is not just the problem of our children, it's a problem of our society. Here are millions of Nigerians richly endowed, but they have been denied opportunity to be in formal school. They have been denied opportunity to have decent shelter. They've been denied opportunity to have medical care. And we thought that we need to awaken the consciousness of the people, of Nigerians, around this problem. What do we do to get people to stop the normalization of the thing that we see and begin to really think that this is an urgent problem that needs to be addressed. Unfortunately, also, a large proportion of our population misunderstand the Almajiri. Like Saka said, most of us in urban centers, we see them as irritants. People who don't want to see them close to us, except if we want to exploit them, either to do some menial jobs for us. Generally, we are happy to oppress them, but not to provide solution to their own problems. Yeah. So when Saka and Ismail said this was what they were working, I said, oh, this is a very good idea to get the message that addressing the Almajiri problem is a collective responsibility of Nigerians, not just of parents, not just of government, but all of us need to work together to address them. And we think that poetry would be able to graphically carry that message, because it carries along with it emotions, visibility, and so forth. You know, of course, we do understand that not everybody read poetry. Yes. But those people who read poetry can be able to also amplify the message in the poems that they have read. In other words, that our hope is that through the readers of poetry, who are also involved in other communicative acts, either in theater, either in the radio programs, either as teachers, either as journalists, will then be able to carry the message that are embedded in the various poems that are contained in this collection. And I think, so that precisely is the connection of CETA to this anthology, that we hope that this is a vehicle for us to continue to do advocacy through the musical words of poetry.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, my mic is on. Okay, so I mean, the Almajiri problem seems to be, you know, the most significant. Oh, who's that? There's someone.
Oh, sorry, it's me. I'm trying to get on with my system now.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so I say the Almajiri problem is one of the distinct, you know, and visually identifiable feature of the whole disparity between the rich and the poor in Nigeria, you know, where if people, most Nigerians are going to say, hey, Northerners have been in power and all of that, but yet the stark reality of poverty and deprivation is there. So it's not about Northerners and elite being in power and you know, depriving most others of the resources. The poverty is even more up north than down south. So I think throwing more light on the plight of the Almajiri is an important one. There's one poem that I have. Is Francis Anagu here? Francis Anagu, his work, Give Me the Natal Seat, is one I love from this collection. That I may sit down and ask you a question, my people. What makes a nation great? Worries the roaming. Is it the leaders' iron greed? Someone's mic is on. Is it the leaders' iron greed trembling the widow's door, or the police that shot the traveler's head? What makes a nation great, my people? The weasels have eaten the national flag, and by the Almajiri's cry, the ultimate prize is war. His country is happy. What makes your nation great? The flames engulf the sky, letting the vultures perch on carcass of your nation's barbecue. Yet on jittery bones you stand, mumbling in pricks and tantrums from the coasts. The leech sucks your blood to the extreme, bends your back, and you are stalled in the blazing sun. You are not my people. When and wins the gallant prize, I shall sit tireless here and watch and applaud. Yet I ask you again, my people, what makes your nation great? I like that poem because it seems to, problematize for us the issue of the Almajiri. I have this large number of children out of school without food and all of that. What is the greatness of Nigeria? So with that, I will throw the floor open to any of those contributors who would like to read or perform their poetry. We have a message from Rodiger Sisman. Sorry, I have to leave. I ordered the book and hope to receive it soon. Thank you very much. I don't know if I pronounce your name well, but since you're
Rodiger Sisman.
Yeah, Rodiger Sisman, right? Okay. Thank you very much for joining us and for ordering the collection.
I'm even surprised why people have ordered it because it's not out, it's on anywhere. I'm surprised.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So poets. So Yao Sule Inua, you want to? Hello, your mic is muted.
Hello?
Yes. Oops. Sorry, I was trying to mute someone else and then I mistakenly muted Inua again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So thank for having me in this very, very chatting, because I was invited, if I could never forget, it was one of my friends that invited me to do this conversation. And I'm very, very glad to be part of it. Although I'm not fired, but I still have something to offer in this conversation. Indeed, the problem of Almajiri system, it is very, very great problem in northern Nigeria, as I know. And of course, we have been trying in daily basis to sensitize our people about the problem this system is daily examining in northern Nigeria. Of course, as we are using social media, now social media has become a way that you can sense from where you are living. And we have established, or let's say create many social media pages and so that we can use them to elucidate people more about the problems this system is daily causes. Hello, can you, are you with me?
Okay. I can't. Yes. Sorry.
Make your point. Is that okay? You can.
Maybe it's the network problem, but I can't hear you well. I don't.
Can somebody hear me? Hafsa?
I can hear you.
Okay. Hafsa Zakari. I see your hand is up.
Yes. Yes, I
Okay.
can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right, please go ahead, Hafsa.
Okay. I think the Almajiri system is something I've never been happy about. As a matter of fact, yesterday happens to be one of the days they lose. I mean, let me say they set them free. Being Friday in the morning hours, they're free, no karatu and all of that. Three, we are trying to cross this Gwarzo Road, UK Road, new site. In fact, one was crushed. The car smashed the head, and that child is just less than 10 years. In fact, I couldn't sleep last night. It happened yesterday. So if I sit down to think this Almajiri stuff, I don't know why it can be, scrapped. So it gets me, devastated most time when I see these children. Some of them ought to be in the arms of their mothers, being cuddled, but look at what they're going through. So it's not the sad. Just pray more awareness will be created with regards to that.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Please, we need some of the performances. Who is ready to take poetry performance now? The contributors from the anthology. Or do I call on the editors to guide us? Saka or
Okay.
Ali?
Well, I don't know. Can you see my video? Or is just the picture you are seeing?
We've been seeing just your picture.
Okay, I'm trying to see if I can come out live, or I don't know. You can hear me, but the picture I'm saying is just my passport.
Yeah, it's your passport.
I don't know.
Lydia is waving. She's tired of using waving for. So she Lydia, you're wrong.
I can't hear. I think.
All right. Yes, sir.
Okay, Lydia.
I'm here.
Okay.
So I will go ahead to read the poem. It's titled Treasures in the Savannah. Treasures in the Savannah. That's the title of my poem. From the hills in the savannah, out of the forest in the tropical area, he was molded, formed with passion. His cry filled the earth environment with great warmth. As the news of his coming was gulped down with great delight, thirst being quenched as Pura and Nono traveled down the throat, the hotness of the sun serving as herald to the great star being born. Joy was dented when treasure was pushed out into the open and cold field, not nurtured to fulfill the mandate of he who molded it at first, before being sent to the tropics. In the face of tradition, his rights were trampled on. He went about naked with nothing to cover his shame. Do treasures go naked? I asked. Out of the savannah, I saw treasures going hungry. Even the bowl that served as its mark of identity was empty. I saw treasures begging for alms. The crown leaving the palace, the one who owned the meat, was being made to feed on bones. Treasures ravaging on the streets. He that was meant to be the builder was being changed down. Hopes of the fulfillment of his mandate looked blink as he dreamt of a future where his desires would be accomplished.
All right. Thank you very much, Femi.
Yes.
I'm trying to get for others to follow. I don't know if you would like to do an encore so that.
Yes, I can see you have this. You have the screen sharing now. Good. That's what I've been trying to do. Yeah.
Just so that others can follow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I should start again, right?
Yes. Thank you.
All right, sir. Treasures in the savannah. From the hills in the savannah, out of the forest in the tropical Arewa, he was molded. Formed with passion, his cry filled the hot environment with great warmth. As news of his coming was gulped down with great delight, thirst being quenched, as Fura and Nono traveled down the road, the hotness of the sun serving as herald to the great star being born. Joy was dented when treasure was pushed out into the open and cold field, not nurtured to fulfill the mandate of him who molded it at first, before being sent to the tropics. In the face of tradition, his rights were trampled upon. He went about naked with nothing to cover his shame. Do treasures go naked? I asked. Out of the savannah, I saw treasures going hungry. Even the bowl that served as its mark of identity was empty. I saw treasures. I saw treasures begging for alms. The crown leaving the palace. The one who owned the meat was being made to feed on the bones. Treasures ravaging on the streets. He that was meant to be the builder was being changed down. Hopes of fulfillment of his mandate look bleak as he dreamt of a future where his desires would be accomplished.
Before, if you have comments on the work, please make notes. Khalid, ma'am, your hand has been up. You want to say something? Khalid, founder of the he's one of the forces behind this. Hello, Khalid. Can you all hear me? Khalid,
now. Hello?
Hello.
Do you hear me? Oh, did you...
I think there's some.
Could you type to on? Hello, Khalid. Hear me? Hello. Now, whether it's from my end or from Khalid's.
No, hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're managing to hear it. When you say, can you now? Yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? This looks like. Can you hear me? Hello?
Since we're having some glitch.
Yeah. Saka, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I don't know why the pilot.
Said Abiola, your hand was up earlier. You can unmute your mic.
Unmute your mic.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. No, the network is a bit bad. I don't know if it's only me here.
No.
But can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I don't have much to say. I just Dr. Sakali is our teacher, is as well our brother for this wonderful compilation of this poem. Though I don't have a copy yet, but hopefully personally to get a copy. But from the contributions and all the speeches so far, I think the issue of Almajiri in northern part of this country has been captured. And I just pray and hope that Dr. Saka will equally write another point to address or to provide a solution to this Almajiri issue in northern part of this country, because they are, I don't know if I'll be right using that word, causing some harm than good. Because many people, they've already tagged them as a kind of leech into the society and using them by the elite to achieve some of their selfish aim. So I just want to implore Dr. Saka to please still write another poem or throw it open to we students. If there's any way anyone can still come up with any poem that will still in a way provide a solution. Even the government, they have been looking for a way to solve this Almajiri issue, but to no avail. But yet we are not going to keep short. We're still going to be making our own contributions to see that the issue of Almajiri in this northern part of this country is being find a solution to, because they are just been everywhere. They are not living a good life, and we are not happy about that. These children, they deserve the best. They deserve to be well educated. They deserve to eat good food. They deserve to wear good clothes. So I really commend Dr. Saka, and I pray that Almighty Allah will increase him in knowledge and make him a professor one day by God's grace. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I think it also important to read the whole collection in the first place. So I think I would like to read my own song on the shared page, page 17. And maybe Diego can.
What? It's what on what page?
Page 17.
Okay.
17.
17. All right, I'm going to try and go there. So what poem is that?
On Song of Almajiri.
All right. To be there shortly. Yeah, so I'll share the screen now. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. And I will repeat. It's actually Almajiri. Almajiri. But for the grace of Allah, it could have been you. The tattered clothes, their feet like belly bare, poor guests of Allah. What the history, what the culture, what the society. But for the grace of Allah, this quest for knowledge, fettered by poverty, turbaned by ignorance. You do not want to look, let alone see, this unbeautiful scene reclining before us. Too sharp a mirror, but for the grace of Allah. Yes, the parents, the malams, what's the parents? What's a clinic? What's a bed? A breakfast or a dinner? But for the grace of Allah, who is not a beggar, but one manner of a beggar. Look in the mirror, it could have been you. But for the grace of Allah, it could have been you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the poem. That's the poem that set the whole thing going.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, but for the grace of Allah, it could have been you. Yeah.
You know, way back when we were in Kaduna, Diego, there was a day I was in a bus, you know, between, is it NDA and this short junction between NDA and what's it called, signboard. You know, these Almajiris, they have habit of hopping in the bus to get a short lift and then drop. So I was in the bus. Then one of these Almajiri hopped into the bus and he was sitting in front of me. And I could see a resemblance between me and this boy. That I was a little bit embarrassed. That if somebody that knows me comes in, he's your brother, and it would be difficult for me to say no. You know, that's the kind of idea that, you know, of course I've written the poem before then, but that experience also, you know, resonated with this poem because it could have been anybody. You didn't decide where the one who will be your parents. You know, there are some of these things that are beyond us. So that's why our humanity matters in this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Is there any other poet who wants to render their poetry?
Hello. I haven't written a poem, but I would like to say something.
Okay.
But if you can stop sharing, then I'll be able to see.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah. So hello, everybody. I'm happy to be part of this presentation on Almajiri, and I'm also happy that I got contacted to present a blurb for this book. When I was writing the blurb, I have gone through most of the poems to be able to grasp what the poets have written. And as I have said also in the blurb, it echoes the concern for the plight of the Almajiri. And what is so beautiful about the collection is that these are poems from all people all over Nigeria who have either are living in the north or other parts, but they are aware of the problems that prevail. But there are some things sometimes we mix, and this is my view. In the discussions, other people before starting this presentation or this talk, many people, several people have commented. Often we try to put the Almajiri in the big box with all the other beggars on the street. And probably we wouldn't have seen their plight as negative if we do not have other beggars who have made begging a profession. People who are also with disabilities, you know, some people who can also afford many things, but because they are so used to begging, they stay on the streets and continue begging, even though they have maybe other forms of living, they have a shelter. So we just have to look at the whole concept. The destruction is much more about other begging, because if you go to Kano, for example, you will see a lot of people who are not the Almajiri are the ones who are creating more nuisance. to the system. You know, there are people who maybe if you tell them, okay, we're going to give you money just to stop, they will say no, because they feel that they have more on when they come to the street and beg. And this is also the same in Abuja. When I was in Abuja, I have seen this kind of issue. So with regard to the Almajiri also, you know, Hajara, I think if I'm wrong, correct me. But I think she mentioned the accident. Of course, it's painful, and of course, one can say it's just okay to scrap it. But at the same time, when we talk about scrapping, we have to also go back to look at the origin. You know, how it started. It's something of a scholarly attempt, which was there way before all of us. We all know that. But the issue is, instead of scrapping, I think it's better to restructure everything, you know. And we look at even modern education has not even reached so many rural areas in the villages. If you will have all these schools back to where these kids come from, add a touch of modern school together, and then insist that they have to do it in their villages, I think it will give them awareness. It will also give them education in terms of modern, like for example, in other subjects like English and math, or you know, some subjects of modern to be combined with the things they learn. I'll give an example why I feel that they are very important. Scrapping it is not the option. I am writing a research on Ajami manuscript. And this research, I found some native court documents of 1908 written in Ajami, because when the British came to Nigeria, they met scholars whose method of writing is not the Latin. And these people will not document, these alkalis, these judges, they need them to, since they are the ones being in the north with the Islamic system of court, they want them to document this. They started since 1907, let's say, to almost 1940, they were writing in Ajami court cases. But I tried to find a person who has an Arabic master's or even PhD to read this Ajami thing, and many other people to read the Ajami of this script, they could not. I had to go to the Zawri. I have to meet the scholars. I have to meet students who have sat and did this kind of Almajiri school, who were able to decode what has the type of Ajami of the past, because it's totally not the same as the kind of Ajami here. So I have 2 volumes, like 250 pages each, and I have to refer to those who do not have the kind of Ajami present in the university, like Bayero, who I asked other students who have done the Bayero, who have done the Ajami, but they could not read it because they said it's the older form of Ajami. I had to refer back to the Zawri, to those traditional scholars, and one of the students was the one who helped me translate it. So we have to see that there is, it's unfortunate that there's a system. Of course, it has been brutalized. Finally, before I take time, I just want to add that I think it's about the system in Nigeria. Most of the, like here where I am living in Germany, one of the positive things is that the other menial task, the jobs, you know, like cutting the nails, you know, any other task has been formalized, has been given, you know, you need a certificate. So many Almajiri, by the time they come and they grow up and they become strong, you find them that they're learning other jobs on the side to be able to, you know, some are even into farming, which I know of some. It's not nice how they are abused. So I think it is us, the society. It is about us. We are the ones in the society who have to do something about the situation, because I think I don't know whether it's Saka who said it, the people need them. If you decide to have everybody into the modern education system, it will all collapse. Here, they have divided it whereby after this practical work you do, you will get a job. If you decide you can do a degree and get a job. And at the end of the day, the person who has a practical and also the person who has a degree program may end up even having the same position, or even the practical person may be the boss. So these are things, and it's also the same with this. It's our society. We have to wake up and change the systems whereby let the Almajiri have schools where they are, and they can also practice their kind of school. Thank you. I'm stopping here.
Thank you very much. I love the points you have raised there about you know, reforming the Almajiri system, you know, because they can go back to their various communities if there are schools that are established to integrate the two styles of education. Yes, and I want to take some performances still. Saka, you want to read any of the other works that caught your attention when you were editing? Or are there contributors who are still here?
Maybe have a contributor. If you don't have, I will pick from one of the points, to read.
Just before you do that, I want to remember, could you just tell those who are left here when the launch is going to happen?
Yeah, we are going to do the public presentation on the 26th of this month at the American Corner at the Kano State Library Complex. It will be in the morning.
Okay.
It will be in 10 or 11. We are yet to fix the time, but it's going to happen on the 26th. That's about 2 weeks.
Yes, it's exactly 2 weeks from today.
Yes, at Muritala Mohammed Library, American Corner, Kano State Library. Yes.
All right. Okay. So, can you take one of the works for us?
Yes. There is a work on page 41 by Firdausi Kabir.
Page 41.
Firdausi Kabir.
Okay.
What a lie.
Okay, let me try and fish that out. 41, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. So I'll share the screen now and we go.
Yeah.
Sharing screen coming right up.
Good.
All right.
This poem is by Firdausi Kabir. She is a barrister in Sokoto. What a lie. That's the title. What a lie. While my age mates are in school, I move from one doorstep to the other, begging for my daily needs. While they do their homework, I scramble for their leftovers. An unfair life, I call it. A miserable life, I call it. A befitting childhood, I lack. Basic amenities of life, I'm denied. A good life, I only perceive from afar. What seems to be my fate? A fate I never desired for. A fate chosen for me by my parents, who are forsaking their bundle of joy, their blessed gift from God, all knowledge, which I can acquire at our backyard.
Interesting. Okay, so that's a perspective that just fits straight into what Umma has just proposed. That if this knowledge can be acquired in the backyard, why are we sending the children so far flung areas? Can we re-modify? So I can see that in these collections, solutions also appear to lie in different poems that we're seeing. Is that what you noticed, Taka? That the poems themselves are proposing solutions to the problem?
Yes. Some of the poems are proposing solutions actually. And you see, in fact, in some of the entries, some people were asking me, I hope we did not allow poems that castigate or blame. I said, actually, we actually allowed some of these poems that probably I don't even agree with their viewpoints, because I also want to see that there are people who have points of view that are, different from mine, or from people who believe the system should be. So we allow some of these poems.
Okay.
Poem on page 45.
Yeah.
Page 44.
44.
Quite a long one. The Boy by Amana Theophilus.
Right.
The Boy by Amana Theophilus. The boy who tenders himself, the boy who tenders himself, he wanders around and across, convincingly He settles for even less than crumbs. The child who has no choice, future or plan, but the hope of living to feed and see another God-given day with a dogged heart. That's his dreams kept at bay. He who knows not the cruel fate, but accepts it gladly, giving away clandestinely to a teacher very neglecting. A child debarred from the route to destiny. One has stories of adventures to tell at a tender age. A story of a tiny feeble body pivoted on a weak waist. A story of endless tours in the scorching furnace above, of red blistered feet in ragged clothing, exposing cold naked bodies. He lives the life of endless requests, daily, singing the songs of beggars. Allah Rubiya, Wayidi, Gaya Komiya, Naibara Bansamuba, Wayidi Koda Kanzoma. This story is still unheard in the wilderness. That's a good one.
Yeah.
In terms of the children themselves.
So in advocacy, you know, how are we going to take this forward? What's the plan for changing the Almajiri? Are we just talking to ourselves, or what's the plan when we have x-rayed all of these and proposed solutions? What do we do?
That's a very interesting question you have raised. You know, nearly 20 years ago when I did that project in Sokoto, like I said, it's one of the things that somebody came up when I was having a seminar about this, a workshop on how to improve conditions for Almajiri. He came out and said he was exasperated. He said, oh, I'm tired of workshop, talk shop, every now and then, and nothing is being done. But you see, my argument, and I'll take this argument from the title of Abubakar Imam's trilogy, Magana Jariche. You know, that like I argued earlier, speaking, talking, though we may say, doing and talking, but I also argue that talking is also an active thing. It depends on how you go about it. For me, this advocatory anthology is adding voice. In the past, I have tried to do something. You know, I was naive. I thought maybe I could do something myself as an individual. I went, you know, got grant in a school, selected some 5 children, provided morning breakfast, lunch, and dinner for them, provided clothes for them. I put them in handcraft school, and I organized a workshop, and I was, you know, putting posters around and stickers. But then, at the end of the day, I felt that I've just expended so much energy and nothing has changed because my power was limited. But you see, in my own little way, as an artist, as a poet, and as a scholar, and I thought this poem now, or this collection, people will read it. The awareness will still continue to reverberate in people till the point they're always saying this English proverb that the last camel that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah, the last straw that breaks the camel's back. Yes.
We keep talking. At a point, our decibel will hit the right chord in somebody's ear, and we decide to do. Of course, people have been trying to do something. If you remember, the wife of the former Kaduna State governor, she tried to do something about this. There were also some states, even the federal government under Jonathan, they tried to do. But you see, the problem is some of these attempts to resolve the problem have not been sincere. Yes, people need to look at these people, the teachers and the students, with a more humane and a respectful way. Do not see them as people who have no ideas. See them as people you can talk to. Because in the long run, this problem is a societal one. It's a societal one. So with this anthology, it will go around, people will read it, and people will remember that, okay, people have talked about this, and it will continue to reverberate in the minds of people that, look, this is a problem that we should look at. So this is a way you can go on TV and talk, have an interview. People will ask you and you talk. It's a way. People will read the poems. It's a way. We don't know who will be inspired. Like I told you, even the collection was inspired because a friend whispered to me that he has a poem like mine. And I was like surprised. Okay. And I thought, what if we pool our resources together? We have something. So the same thing. If the society, if we hear enough of this problem and we decide to truly intervene, we can intervene in the problem. But people need to know about the problem. Of course, people already know. But and something which I also found very, very important is, you see, most people in the society do not understand the system because they are outside of. People assume that because you see Almajiri around their houses, they see them walking about, they think that they know them or they understand them. Yeah. They don't know what they do in their schools, the background, where they come from, in their villages. People do not know. People, like I said earlier, it's just that fact we see them as irritants, an irritant to an urban psyche, you know. So if we keep talking about it, so this is one of the ways to come to the problem. In my project in 2003, I argued that there are 3 steps in resolving this Almajiri problem. First, we need research. Secondly, we need advocacy. Third, we need intervention. And intervention has advantage that in intervention, you're automatically doing research and advocacy at the same time. So it's like an advocacy. We have the research aspect, then we have intervention aspect. But these are things that needs people in positions. And my belief is that the president of the country or the governor of the state, they are the people that are most powerful to actually intervene in this problem. Okay. Outside of it, it will be difficult.
Okay. I have some development people here. You know, Della is here. She's based in the UK. She used to do some work.
You know, YZ himself, they've done something.
YZ is here. Kabura is here. I know Uma is an academic. Our Levuti, welcome, sir. Levuti. So, hey, Kabura, yes, you want to say something? Please go ahead. Hello? I can't hear. Is it from my end alone?
I can't hear you.
Yeah. Dr. Kabura. Aha. I heard your voice briefly and then it's gone again.
Yeah, me too. I heard.
Oh my. Network.
Here from Maiduguri.
Yeah. Hello, Della. Della? Okay.
Hello, I can hear you.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Okay. Good afternoon. How is the...
Fine, thank you. It's very fine. Well, thank God for the sun. It's out.
We need to send some sun to you guys there. Okay.
Hello?
So people are discussing. No, I was just joking that we need to send some sun to you guys because we have more than enough here.
Okay.
No, so I was asking a question.
Yeah.
That you have been doing development work. How do we?
That lady that said she wanted to spread her clothes on that side. That time, did she use the tap?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how do we get more people at the decision-making level to get to intervene in the Almajiri issue?
In fact, thank you for this question. Having been in the UK in a while, you know, I am not in the UK because I'm young or my parents brought me here. It's marriage, and I'm I don't know what to say. You know, me and you have shared a lot on this. I've been here in the last 5 years with 2 small kids, and I've seen first-hand experience. And coincidentally, they're just 3 and 2. I have a 3-year-old here in the UK and the other one in Nigeria. And the difference is just, I don't know how to match it, you know. And having been here, the 2 of them have started early childhood, and I can see how coordinated it is. As if I knew, I've been reading on it. I think basically let's start with the ratification, the United Nations ratification. I think we should go back there.
Okay.
I think we should start with the UN, because funny enough, the United Nations Child Rights Convention is the most adopted document by countries. I think it has majority countries. In fact, funny enough, Sudan, that is not even an entity, adopted the United Nations. So it's easy. I think it's just to get, like you said, we just need to get the top concern, which I'm also already even talking to people too about. We just have to start. This is not a bottom up for me approach. It's a top down approach. It's not. You know, you find out many countries have many first and second world countries have actually taken the plight of children seriously, and there is no, how will I put it, they don't mince word with it at all, you know. But I think it's still a good thing, because right now it's an opportunity for us to start and even be very unique in our own approach. Just like one thing I pick is that we can do our school from the backyard. So it's even a perfect one. We cannot look for unique, like even look at Ghana. Ghana, I think, and Namibia, they've actually adopted and organized their children's. I think we just have to do it from the top this time, very top. Okay. And we should start with the legislation, opening up this a wider convention. Just like you are saying now, the other people are doing their little effort, but we need to just harness and just intervene. And I think for me it's timely, because we can find our own unique approach, because we mustn't help, but we also go for learning experience about it's an opportunity, because we also have I think for me it's time to build Africa all over again using the children approach. But like I said, it should be a top down. We need to just involve legislation at this time. And that's it.
All right, thank you very much. Umma, are you there? I want to ask a question relating to the origins of this. Is it an Islamic practice? As in, is it a Hausa or in a culture from northern Nigeria, or is it an Islamic practice? Because people will ask why we do not have Almajiri in some other countries with large population like Pakistan and all of that. Is this, from your readings and research, what's the origin of this? Because if we want to address a problem, then we need to go to, is it custom, or are there traditions that we need to deal with some social norms around them?
This is a heavy question. And I am no scholar, but I think just like many other aspects of Nigerian life, African lives, you find that it's a mixture of religion and culture. And it's, I should even put it the other way, culture and religion. Because when the religion came, it met the culture, and then people tried to use the cover up with many things, taking it as just acceptable. When we take marriages, you see what is done in terms of it's all mixed up together, and that is all the parts of, I think, Hausa society and other aspects, and not just, I think, African society at large, even in the with Christianity and also other cultures. So when we take, as I have said, maybe I will stumble upon some things, but in my readings, what I have also, been also from northern Nigeria, the whole concept of Almajiri, the word itself with the Almajiri, it's an Arabic, it's a scholar, somebody who travels in search of knowledge. So at the beginning, like I said, I am doing research on this manuscript, so I'll give an example. Well, after the jihad of Usman dan Fodio, Bauchi became came under also the emirate and of the Usman dan Fodio jihad, and he is the first emir, happened to be the first, first or only non-Fulani flag bearer. Interestingly, in this research I'm doing, I come to realize that in the city called Bauchi, almost all the settlers with the names, houses that they have been prominent, have all their roots to either Zaria, Kano, or Maiduguri, because the emir asked for scholars to come. So they will come with their families in numbers, like hundreds, and even, and this happened to my great-great-great-grandfather. He came all the way from Kano as a scholar with his whole family, and they settled. And that is why, actually, I was able to get my hand on the documents of the judges, judges of that time. So this is also the life of the Almajiri initially. But just like everything in life, if you decide when Islam, when the British came to northern Nigeria, it has massively affected in the whole setup. You can imagine hundreds of scholars who were prominent woke up one day, they had nothing to do because the system has changed. They don't know how to read the Latin script. Powers will, gradually shift to be a kind of a Latin, way of. So you can imagine, I would even say there's a fast pace. We should even comment that while at the same time in the South, more than 50 years, they have this instituted modern British system of education, while that's what part of what made the North to be lagging. So with the coming of the Latin script, it took a while for the changes to occur. But at the same time, because of Islam has been always part of the, for many centuries, when you compare it to the coming of the British, they came and found it. That's why the indirect system of rule worked in many parts of the, where they met the emirs and this is. So the structure of the school was there. Things were normal. You find that so much things started changing because there's a shift. There's a shift from this cultural stuff. They were doing things. There was, maybe we don't know. We have to look back to see how is begging at that time. Is there really begging at that time? Every scholar make sure it protects its own, because they have, and many people who do not study this Almajiri and just you think it's just that they are sitting there. How do they even coordinate? It's a level. It's just like primary school, secondary school, university, 1, 2, 3, so many levels. They may sit on the same mat, but everybody knows his position. So it's a very interesting process. And I would see it's a clash of culture, religion, and even modernity itself. And we are now, but we look down on them, to put it in a different, we find them and use, let me use Boros Sakas. But the reality of the matter is, it's because they have not been incorporated, just like I have said earlier. So I would say it's a mixture. Nobody said we should beg. Nobody said, and also we would talk about an open thing, which we all know, the number of children people have and the economic distress they find themselves in, So this inequality, you cannot have children and not be able to balance it, So this is you find that they send them. So sometimes you feel like, do they send them because they want to rid themselves of the burden? Of course you feel that from the modern perspective. So, but it is a culture that only, like Saka said, the government has to really push it. And unfortunately, I would say maybe there are many elites who are just benefiting from the fact that these Almajiri exist. So we will have to look at the rottenness, you know, in the society itself from the elites who have the power to push it down and say no. So on the end of the day, I would say the Almajiris are just helpless. We decide, we sit down and we are pushing them this way. Oh, they're negative. We push them that, you know. But we have to, like, I mean, I'm happy with this organization, but there's no one problem. And the people say it's the culture. I'd rather bluntly blame the culture, you know.
Okay.
Because people are not willing to advance. You know, you have to change, you have to advance. If you want to change something, you have to shift from your comfort zone. If you want to make the Almajiri to change the life of the Almajiri for the better, we have to try to move out of our comfort zone by giving them stipends, by making them work for us when we see them, you know, like, you know, the menial task, but by pushing the system to relocate them each to their parents' side, where it will be also, they will have family love, you know, and they will also have the studies. And also the truth of the matter, which I want to conclude, is that how many people care? How many people care to have in these rural areas schools that will be there for the Almajiris for them to start? How many people care? We are all talking about let us have a change but how much do we care that we push it that they can have schools in these places and make it a policy instead of them leaving their comfort zones to come out where they are as little as 3 years old? You know, this is something we have to think about. I hope I have addressed what you want.
Yeah, you have. You have. Thank you so much. I also have Hajara has a hand up for a while now. Hajara?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please, can you weigh in? She has said she will blame, Dr. Umar Aliyu says she will blame culture a lot for what we have in the Almajiri system. Do you agree with that from your findings so far?
I agree, and I want to add on that.
Okay.
I think religion, or I know that religion has nothing to do with Almajiri. In fact, it frowns at burden. I think it's a misinterpretation.
Okay.
The word an offshoot of the Arabic word al-Muhajirun, as Dr. Umar has already mentioned, which means friend. The Almajiri is someone who leaves home in pursuit of knowledge in Islamic religion.
Okay.
History has shown that this began in northern Nigeria century as a result of involvement of Borno rulers in Quranic literacy, and I there's the Sokoto Caliphate and growing. And over time, this came to be known as an Almajiri. Before the colonial era, and even during the colonial era, the people lived at the outskirts of their town. So they had parental moral upbringing. The of the people's hometowns, just at the outskirts, so that they wouldn't be distracted. The schools were maintained by the state, the community, parents, proceeds from zakat, that is, even when wealthy, and it was complemented. Their livelihood was complemented by the teachers and the students through farming. The Quranic Muslims and their peoples in return with education. In the Quran, developing the Ajami, as Dr. Umar has mentioned, it is writing of Hausa language using Arabic alphabets. The North largely educated with a complete way of life routine, with the government, with customs.
Sorry, is it possible to take your mic a bit closer? Can everybody hear Hajara clearly?
Yeah, it's not too clear. Yeah, I have to listen.
If you take your mic a bit closer, wherever the mouthpiece of your phone.
Is it better?
Yeah, I think this is better.
Okay. As I was saying, Northern Nigeria at that point was largely educated with a complete way of life, governance, customs, traditional craft, trade, and even mode of dressing. The Almajiri system played a significant role even in the leadership of the country in the persons of Sir Ahmadu Bello and Abubakar Tafawa Balewa.
Okay.
But why? Why was there Almajiranchi? It was because the first verse in the Quran reads, Iqra bismi rabbika allazi khalaqa, which means read in the name of your Lord. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam directed his followers to pursue learning, even if it is in sin. Go for knowledge, even if it is in the city of China. I think that is where the problem lies, the misinterpretation of the verse of the Quran and the Prophet saying. Today, that was why there was Almajiranchi, but it was, as I have mentioned before, the pupils were taken care of. There was no such begging on the streets. But today, what is happening to Almajiri? The essence of that Almajiri culture has been disrupted. The people who are meant to be trained as Islamic scholars have now had to struggle to fend for themselves and to support their malams. The malams who are mostly semi-illiterate people, because they even use this system to enrich themselves. Most Almajiris, they have to bring 50 or 100 naira per to the malam. Failure to do that, he will receive flogging. The Almajiri schools, the Almajiri had to ache for a living for themselves. The Almajiri is hardly ever a potential authority in the field of Islamic knowledge, but a symbol of hunger and poverty. It has become a syndrome for Almajiranchi. The peoples who are sent to Quranic schools far away from their homes grow up without parental guidance. They live under the bridges in front of shopping malls, and their quest for survival through begging, they have to seek for survival through begging because they don't have any means to fend for themselves besides that. And at the end of the day, they are exposed to hunger and diseases, child labor, child trafficking, molestation, homosexuality, kidnap, ritual killings, which was not there, which was not in existence before this time. I am happy, really happy that it is captured on page 37. It's poem by Abdul Aziz, which reads, in the beginning. The title is In the Beginning. In the beginning were the word, the pen and the slate. There was the decree to roam, not in search of forsaken muscle, in sagged shirts, over tattered shots, from homes, hostels, and brothels, from the rich, the poor, and the bad. Roam, it is decreed, from sin in the polar east to the far-flung towns, deep in the western pole. But to do what? To search. Search shall be on for anything unknown, wisdom, faith, help, and all from the cradle till the last is breathed. Thank you.
Okay.
In the beginning was the word, and this was the word.
Yeah.
Okay.
The word.
Could you read that again for us? I was still looking.
Okay. In the beginning were the word, the pen and the slate. I think he's referring to the Quranic verse, Iqra bismi rabbika allazi khalaq. There was decree to roam, not in search of forsaken muscle, in sagged shirts, over tattered shots, from homes, hostels, and brothels, from the rich, the poor, and the bad, is depicting the Almajiri now roaming about in the street in tattered clothes, searching for food, from the rich, from the poor, and from the evil people. Rome, it is decreed, from sin in the polar east to the far-flung towns deep in the western pole. It is agreed in the religion to go in search of knowledge up to sin, that is China. But the search should not be on the aforementioned on the first paragraph, first stanza, sorry. but for what? In search for wisdom, faith, health, and all. And that search will be from the cradle. Seek for knowledge from the cradle up to your last breath. In the beginning was the word, and this was the word. But parents are misinterpreting these words of the Quran and the Prophet's sayings. Parents are sending their words to become Almajiri, shying away from their responsibilities of catering for their own children. I think there should be a law passed in Nigeria, just like in China. If you can't cater for your child, give birth to 2, or you'll be sued by the law. Where are our elites? Where are our mothers? Of recent, I was watching TV and I heard one of the very big, one of our malams, religious malams, gathering money for contribution to build a mosque that is akin to Haram in Mecca or Medina. Is it a mosque that we need? We don't need mosque. We need manpower.
Sorry, go ahead.
We do not need mosques. Can't we advise the malams, the attajirais, to help build manpowers instead of mosques?
Wow, that's a big poser.
Yeah, Diego, can I come in?
Yes, but your co-editor, Ismail Balagarba, has joined for the closing ceremony.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Saka, please go ahead.
Okay, the question you pose is really, really a big, big question about the origin of the system and the problem. It's a very complex thing. I'm asking whether it is Islamic or it is cultural. The answer to this question are so multifaceted and varied that one single strand cannot answer the question. What I want to say, one strand that I also want to say that people also know that this problem is first and foremost an economic problem with the turban and the gown of religion.
Wow.
You see, the turban is something to be respected. The gown is something to be loved. But then the body of wearing this is poverty. It's an economic issue. How do you, take the clothes of honor, the turban of knowledge from poverty that is wearing it? You do not want to dirty the turban or the clothes, and here is poverty wearing it. How do you do it? It's a very delicate issue.
There was a project.
People, yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
A lot of the people who are sending their children to these schools, you will agree that 99% are poor people, usually from rural areas. And you can see even the current insurgency, banditry will also exacerbate the issue of Almajiri, because a lot of people have been rendered orphans, widows and widowers in the rural areas. And there's an easy system in the urban, just throw the children to a school, they will cater for themselves. So we have an economic problem that is wearing the toga, the turban and the gown of religion. And so it's difficult. For many people, they can't see the difference. They can't see the difference. So it's a very complex, and that reminds me of the question my student Said said I should write a book. What I actually hope to do is to write my memoir of my 1 year experience with these children way back in Sokoto. I hope to have the time to do it very soon and add voice to this issue again. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There was a project in around 2003. I encountered the person behind the project in Arewa House, and he showed me the document where there are geographers who were looking at that there was, I think around the 60s or 70s, I can't remember, there was some kind of famine, some kind of situation where because the zakat was not funding was not supporting the system enough. The Malams themselves were farming, and they were sending the Almajiri to the farms to help cultivate what they all would eat, and they would sell some. And that when there was a disaster, I think it was a locust invasion or some climate change deforestation, they lost a lot. And the children that used to be sent out to the farm had to be sent out to beg, to augment. I couldn't get a copy of that because the program was still in progress. It was a study. You know, I don't know if anyone has any perspective like that.
Yeah, you see, like Dr. Huma Najara was saying, you see, initially, this problem of Almajiri is actually a modern problem, a 20th century thing. After colonial invasion and colonization of Nigeria, you know, because you see the system, how it works is this. It is the community, wherever these schools are located, that are responsible for them. But now the communal system broke down. Yeah, you know, a lot of you tend to blame it on British colonialism, which I'm not denying it. I agree with it. The colonial system came, disrupted the system because the scholars, the teachers in these schools, they were the people who opposed colonial invasion of Nigeria. There were people on horsebacks who challenged the guard, and they were killed. Their books were burnt and all sorts of things. So they reject, and it's one of the reasons why people, Muslims, generally reject Western education, because the British came with force. And so people tend to say, okay, we blame the British. I'm not denying that. But my argument is always been, look, the British have come and they have gone. The British they came with intention. Whatever their intention is, I don't care. They want to, you know, colonize us, take our resources, and they went about with diligence and they succeeded, because that's what they want, to take our resources. But what is our aim? What is our passion? I mean, what is our own vision for ourselves? The British have gone more than 60 years. Our people are in charge. I mean, for how long do we continue to blame? I'm not saying the British didn't play their part, but you cannot continue to focus on that while neglecting our own part of this problem. And there's a dimension to this, a special dimension to this problem that also many people do not take into consideration. You see, the whole of northern Nigeria is a wide expanse of land. If you've been to the rural areas, Diego, you will have seen this. In some of the rural areas, they are so spaced between themselves that you will travel for hours between one village and the other. So it's not possible to have schools, even Quranic school, in all of these places, so that it's an excuse to take your children to other places. Unlike in the southwestern part of the country, where in 4 hours you can cover the length and breadth of southwest. But in the north, even within a particular state, is a long expanse. And people live in hamlets. And they also want to educate their children. So what do we do? And then there's poverty with them. So it's an excuse. For some of them, there are parents who, out of irresponsibility, are putting their children in this school. There are those who are genuine. But then, because we don't have the research or the data, we cannot say who is, responsible and who is not responsible. So we lump everybody together as irresponsible. And that's why some people will say, scrap the system. But of course, you can't cut the nose to spice the face. You just have to find a way.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I think I'll stop there.
Let me call in your co-editor, IB Garba. You're welcome, sir.
Yes, Diego.
Yes.
Thank you. I want to apologize. I had an emergency. A brother of mine had a medical emergency, and my battery died. I only came back and borrowed another phone and put my SIM. That's why I could not join until now.
Sorry about that.
Yes, but I have. Thank you. Yeah. He's in stable condition now. I'm back home even. I'm back home. Thank you. I missed a substantial part of the discussion. Thank you. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. I missed a significant part of the discussion, but I caught some of the inputs that you and Dr. Saka are exchanging. I must say that, I didn't expect any less, and I'm glad that this anthology has provided a platform for people to really talk about the Almajiri system of education and dispel some of the myths and some of the attached to it. There's really a lot of stigma, a lot of misconception, a lot of lies, a lot of rumor mongering, so many bad things about Almajiri. Of course, it has its own challenges, it has its own problem, but as it's the case in Nigeria, or more specifically in northern Nigeria, we tend
Please don't go. Network.
We tend to overlook the real problem and want to run in cycle. Yeah, we tend to run in cycle. I hope you can hear me, Diego.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I said we tend to run in cycle. I can give you an example. From 1980s up to early 1990s, successive administration here in Kano had some kind of committees to look into the problem of Almajiri, particularly in 1987 or thereabout, during the military era. There was a high-powered committee that was established to look into the problem of Almajiri. So many studies done on the Almajiri system have agreed that the recommendation of that particular committee, if the government had followed them to the latter, probably the problem would have been not just solved, but probably would have been taken care of by now. But each government, when it comes, each administration has forgotten about the previous work done by the previous administration and wants to start
a new one.
A new Almajiri program, a new one. And you see, the politician, as you know, you have a better dealing with them as I more than I do. They are not sincere. They are not sincere. They only care about rating. They only care about publicity, cheap publicity. But the real problem, no one is ready to tackle it. No one is ready to tackle it. So that's what I want to say. I'm sure there are other people who would like to say something. Yeah.
I want to take you a bit off. Is there any favorite poem for you in this collection? Because we have just 11 minutes to go. We agreed to end at 6:30.
Yeah, the one that inspired the whole collection by our very good friend Dr. Murtala Oba.
Okay. Would you want to read any of those for us?
Yes. Just a minute. Let me fish out. The book is close by.
Okay. If I search for it,
Here we are. I have the book here with me.
Okay.
Just a moment, please. It's on page 22, 22nd page.
22.
Okay, which is
22, yes.
Children, right?
They are children. In defense of the Almajiri child.
Let me share the screen.
Okay.
Great. They are children, yes.
Yeah. They may not have proper education. They may live in poor, miserable condition. They may be illiterate and have nothing to trade. They may live in ghettos and shanty towns. They may roam from house to house. They may parade from office to office, begging you in the name of Allah that creates. They may be drug addicts or political thugs. You may even use them in your rally and give them little penny that cannot quench their thirst. Almajiri is a child of destiny. He may not have a house to dwell. He may not have food to eat. He may not have clothes to wear. And he moves barefooted by 12 noon in the city of Dabo, which is Kano. He may harass you or your guest. He may embarrass you by his deeds. The fault is neither his nor his parents, but his leaders that built mansions and palaces and take their children to the far nation to study.
Hey, network.
So that they lead all the time and care little. He is human like you, deserves better treatment and sympathy. Disowning him will not do. Rejecting him will not solve. If you call him Nigerian or Chadian, what of the Birom child that attacks? The Katamboy and OPC is Nigerian. The Niger Delta is Nigerian. Only the Almajiri is a foreigner in his own land. His elders deny him whenever he attacks. yet they want his board to attend political office.
Interesting. The whole
contradiction.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. I'm sure
if you could
yeah. On the 26th,
yeah, I just wanted to
be launched. I'm sure a lot of conversation will go on this. We'll dwell on this. Yes.
Certainly.
Okay, I can see Dr. Ralia's hand is up.
Okay. Hello, Dr. Ralia. You can.
Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Yes, she's been watching.
Sorry, I also joined. Yes, I have been, although I didn't join at the beginning, I was traveling. Let me be very quick because the time is almost over. I just want to mention that there's something that has struck me about the whole conversation about the Almajiri. One question which I am yet to hear in conversations about Almajiri, that is, what is the attraction? I'm asking this because I'm a village girl. I come from the village. I come from a rural area. And I know of people who have been through the system. And normally, from human experience, what you experience, if you have a bad experience as a child, you do not want to put your child through the same thing.
Yes.
But with the Almajiri system, it's different. In my hometown, we had a tycoon, very rich man with houses and businesses and everything. But he had gone through the Almajiri system, and he also insisted that his children must also go. Some of his children went to Western schools, but he insisted that his sons must also go through the system. Now, you know that if you have a drug addiction problem, one of the ways of tackling it is to first of all understand what the attraction is for the person using the drug. What does it do for the person, so that you could find other things that would do the same thing that are not as harmful. So this has bugging me, why people who have gone through the system still send their children back through the same system, which was not kind to them. They suffered the same abuse and everything. I think this is one of the fundamental questions that we should be asking about when we have conversations about Almajiri. But very quickly, I want to mention what struck me about this anthology. The most important question, I think, that I found in the poems is in the poem of Saki Jojo, Unsung Song of the Almajiri on page 17, where he asks a very important or very interesting question when he says, what's their parents? What is, not who are their parents, but what is their parents? I think it was interesting to me that what, not who, because it's showing the psychological or mental state of the Almajiri. You see, the Almajiri knows who his parents are. They have identity, they have a home, he goes back to them, but he does not understand the concept of parenthood, of what it means for someone to look after their children, care for them, protect them, provide for them, etc., etc. So I think that is the question that goes through the mind of the Almajiri. Probably that is why he would repeat the same thing, because he does not know what parenting is. He might repeat the same thing with his own children, not understanding it because he never had the same kind of experience. So I think that this is the poem that struck me the most. What is their parents? Yes, the parents, the malams. What is their parents? I think that we need more mobilization for our people to understand the importance of growing up within a family. That breaking away of the child from the parents is not just about parental guidance, but that an individual cannot really be a whole or complete human being without the normal circle of the family, not just the immediate mother, father thing, but the love, the connection, the sense of belonging that a child has. When we have, I think that if our people understand how important it is to a human being to become a human being, how important it is that that person is brought up in a home within a family, I think half of the problem of the Almajiri system would be solved. Because I think that is the greatest ignorance of our people, that we don't understand, partly because we are a culture of, we are an Awuf culture, sorry to say, Northern Nigeria. Yeah, we are an Awuf culture. We have people who are not Almajiri. Everybody wants free handouts. Everybody does not want to take responsibility, even for themselves. People come to you, we have a sense of entitlement to what does not belong to us. We have a sense that, yeah, we have this saying in Hausa, that your hand will not, you will not cut off your hand because it is rotten. You won't cut it off, you will not amputate it. It is still your hand. But actually, that's not the case. You will cut it off if it starts to rot. So I think that mentality really needs to change. The idea that, well, I can have children, there will always be someone else to take care of such a child. I think that mentality is the most important thing for me that we need to change. Otherwise, like Dr. Saka said, we are, like Dr. Ismail Abala said, we are caught up in a vicious cycle. It's going to go on and on and on, and we may not see the end of it. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. I appreciate this intervention. I think this is going to shape a lot also in this conversation, but we are supposed to be wrapping up now. Kabura's hand is up. If you can take it in a very short time. Yeah. But Inua was making a point. Yao Sule, he was making a point earlier, and I caught him when we needed to take performances. So let me take Kabura, and then I'll take Inua before we close.
Yeah, well, I wanted to make an intervention earlier, but my network was bad, and almost everybody has said what I wanted to say. But is that as a literary output, we should be concerned with what follow-up we do on this. We have raised awareness on what Almajiri is, but there remains a lot of questions as to its origin and a lot of other issues that need to be tackled. And I think that we should look for a further means of exploring these ideas and looking at solutions. The development world is thinking about it, and I think this is for the literary world to also do something further. Yeah, you could look at theater for development. You could look at a book that would look at the origin, the consequences, and any solutions that we can look at. So we need to see the book first. In the book, when I see the book, then I'll be able to comment on the format and its usefulness for advocacy beyond the literary circle. Over.
Yeah, wow. Thank you very much. I think that's a valid point. And for those involved in the project, that's the go-to person with all the experience, development.
Yeah, the book will surely get to you.
All right. Yao, do you still have something to say before we close? It's 6:30 already.
Well, thank you, sirs. I actually don't have anything to say because the previous speakers has already said all I want to say.
Oh, great.
All I can say is thank you very much. And it is very, very great to sensitize our people on the problems that Almajiri system is daily providing, more especially in northern Nigeria. And as I told you earlier, there also need to be sensitization on how to address the issue to the people. Now people take social media as the way of getting news. So we have to also use that opportunity to use social media platforms toward sensitizing our people. As I told you, I also established 3 Facebook page, which are now delivering many things about the Almajiri issue. Thank you very much. It's very, very great pleasure to have you people.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And now to the editors, any final words before we go?
Well, I would just like to thank everybody that have joined us and have contributed to this conversation. I believe, like I said, it's an ongoing conversation. We will continue to talk, to speak, to advocate for better conditions for Almajiri until it punctures the eardrums of somebody that will do the definite action. This talking is not just talking, it is also an active talking. So I want to thank everybody that have participated in this, and hopefully I hope you all get a copy of this to read when we do the presentation in 2 weeks' time. In Kano, we'll be doing it in 2 weeks' time in Kano, and those people in other places, we find a way of getting across to them. We want to thank the people who have the contributors who have joined us, and most especially, not to underestimate, I want to thank CITAD and the director, YZ Yao, for, it was their magic one. We've been at this for over 3 years, but in just in twinkle of an eye, they came to our rescue, and we have the book. So they have played a very, very great important role. So I want to extend my greetings and appreciation to YZ Yao. And I deliberately chose him because I know he has worked on this. So I also wanted him to, share in the glory, and I'm glad that he did. So we are really grateful for him and CITAD for their intervention in this project. We are most grateful. No words can really express our gratitude for what they have done. They made the difference at the most important time. Thank you. Maybe Ismail have something to say.
Yeah.
Yes, since Dr. Saka, my co-editor, has expressed our appreciation to our sponsors seated, I would like to also thank all the people who have taken time to join, especially our very good friend Diego, who, as you may be aware, was the one who provided the Zoom time that we are using for this, and he has been providing us with Zoom platform free of charge, in addition to publicizing it on YouTube and on Akweya TV. Thank you so very much, and I hope each time we have something that we run to you, you will be able to help us out as always. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Thank you. You're most welcome.
Yeah, Diego, we are most grateful. You are so close that we sometimes forget even to thank you.
No, I mean, so this is what we set up Akweya TV for, that we do history, culture, art, and development. And you can see in this particular case, everything is assembled. There's history that contributes to the problem. There's the culture, and then we're using art, and we're trying to improve, in development. So it's really like the kind of thing that Akweya TV should be involved in at every point. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So on the 26th, those who can be around, if you want to share this stream again, I think it's on our YouTube channel. I've posted the link. At youtube.com/Akweya TV. You can share it, and then let's have the conversation continue. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.